Hello and welcome. So, for today's video, welcome to the second part of our tutorial, episode 2, which is contouring program, operation, I mean. By the way, if it's our first time to meet, I'm Jimil Ignacio. I'm a CNC machinist for almost 20 years now, and I'm sharing my knowledge when it comes to machining. So, specifically for CNC milling, manual programming, ISO G codes 101. So, for today's topic, so this is the second part of our tutorial, episode 2. As you noticed, I highlighted red the facing operation because we just finished that tutorial from our previous videos. So by the way, if you missed our first part of our tutorial, please just go back to the videos that I just shared in my account, so you can follow us in our next topic, which is the contouring operation. So this is just quite quick, this contouring, because we already tackled some of the fundamentals, I would say fundamentals of the characters or G codes or special functions that we discuss in facing operations. So we will now skip some of the explanations. That's why. So let's begin the contouring program. By the way, I just want to, before we continue, I just want to share why I have this, like why did I make this kind of tutorial? Because as I, how will I say this? Let me share you my quick story. When I was just about starting my career as a CNC machinist, way back in Philippines, during that time I'm really starting from zero. I know how to do a manual operations, lathe, milling, surface grinder, but when it comes to CNC, I don't have an experience during that time, but I have the like the fundamental knowledge in manual. So I really want to learn CNC that time. I think way back 20 years ago. But the problem is, though everyone is willing to teach or to share their knowledge about CNC, but there's no time. There's no time to teach. Literally, there's no time to teach those kind of information because we only have the time inside the machining or inside the manufacturing or in the shop. So that's the only time we have. And of course, when you go out from your work, there's no time to discuss about that. Though everyone is willing to share that information, but the problem is there is no time. And I know that kind of feeling that you have you want to learn, really to the interest to learn about CNC, but there's no one or someone really don't have the time to teach you. I just found out that when you're just starting, it's hard to ask actually. There's nothing in asking, but it's hard to ask your fellow or your colleagues, fellow machinists all the time because first we have a target or we have a quota in our production, and there's no time to always ask your colleagues. That's why I find these ways to share this knowledge at least to anyone who is willing to learn about CNC machining. I just strive that time to really learn how. When I was starting, I just really like you have to find your own ways to learn CNC machining. I would say like that. That's why when I have this kind of willingness to and spare time, I really started to share this kind of information so that those machinists that really want to learn also CNC machining or programming, at least we have this kind of information in the internet. And that's why I share it like I'm putting myself to those someone when I was started also 20 years ago. So that's why as long as I can use my terminology so that they can also understand this kind of knowledge. That's why some of the terminology here I use my own because I'm just thinking, as I have explained in my previous videos, that I'm imagining it like there's a new machinist come into the workshop and you will teach him about the machine controls and especially the program. So that's why this is how I teach someone who is just new in the workplace. Because I believe that everyone is willing to learn, but sometimes the situation itself hindering us from getting those kind of information. So that's why I'm sharing this kind of information so that everyone will benefits from learning CNC machining. So please, if you have any suggestions or comments that can benefit on how we deliver this kind of tutorial, so please, I appreciated your effort to comment so that everyone can be beneficial for this kind of information. Everyone can learn on, let's say, easy way. Because as I want to share this one in much more efficient way also, so that there's nothing to like I want to share this one direct to the point, something like that. So go back in our tutorial for today, which is contouring. Because we already tackled some of the program, some of the functions, codes or characters, so I just do an initial format. So just to recap from our first video, which is the phasing operations, this is from block number 1 up to block 25. So that is our full programs to face this kind of material. 300, 250 by 300. That's why I labeled it as N1, which is spacing operations. So now, if you will do the next operation, which is contouring, so you will just insert into onto the bottom part of this one. So the M30 is supposed to be not there. So you will insert the next contouring operation. That's why I labeled is, I just copy the drawing, so it's just already there. It's hard to scroll back again to the very top of this page. I just copy that one there. So now, program operations, episode 2, which is contouring operation. What is contouring? Contouring is, after we paste that material, contouring is just simply cutting that width, the 300 by 250. Because of course, when the material came, there's always an stock around the material. Example, if this material is 300 by 250, that is not exact. That is not exact. It's always a stock, material stock from the cutting, from the part. So probably that is 310. This is probably 260. Ideally for that kind of material. So there's always an stock, even to the thickness, if that is 100 thickness. So it's not exact 100. It's 105 or 110. Like 5 mil each side, ideally. So that's why contouring operation is finishing that square, the outside part of that part, to target that dimension, 300 by 250. So let's just highlight where is our origin, which is the middle of our part. Previously, when we paste this top, which is our Z0, when we paste that one using our face mill diameter 100. But now, we will be using, you cannot use that face mill diameter 100. Besides, that is probably that paste mill, which I just don't emphasize on the first tutorial, but that paste mill is probably 45 degrees. So ideally, you cannot use that one because this thickness, based on our drawing, is 100. So we will be machining up to negative 100 mm for our contouring operation. Okay, so you cannot use that one because paste mill is just paste mill used to face. Though, the cutter that we will be using is also, it's also called paste mill, but that is 90 degrees. Like, there is no angle like 45 degrees. That is just 90 degrees. But that one is still called paste mill. But the proper, not proper way, but other manufacturer called it as square shoulder mill. That's why I put it square shoulder mill. But basically, that is just 90 degrees. 90 degrees because we will be go negative 100 from Z0, so negative 100. So if your paste mill is 45 degrees, so it will just hit the body, and that's not the proper tool to use on the contouring. So we can use side cutter, but for the normal manufacturing practice, sometimes we use just the normal face mill. It's still called face mill, but it is a square mill, a square shoulder mill. Just imagine that is just square means square, 90 degrees side. So square mill, 90 degrees angle. Okay? So just I already typed some of the first, because we've discussed this in our first tutorial in the facing part, which is in the episode 1 of our tutorial. So I just put it right away. So I just put N2 and label it as contouring program tutorial because this is our tutorial, but you can put anything. You can put contouring operation or something like whatever detail that you want to put there to just know that this part is contouring. Okay, N2, which is the sequence number, we have discussed that one already. Sometimes if you reset your machine and you just want to jump right away to the contouring part, of course, when you finish your pacing operation, which is this one from N1 here, of course, when you reset your machine and rerun again the contouring, of course, you will not run again from pacing. Of course, you just want to jump right away into the contouring parts. That's why to jump on this side, you can use N2. You can use N2, which is the sequence number 2. That's how the N2, one of the functions or the use of N2, which is the sequence number 2, this one. You can just search N2, then you can jump right away here, and you can skip the pacing operation. Okay? So of course, as what we have said in our previous video, the first top three part of your program is the cancellation, which is G40, G80, G69, and home positioning, G0, G91, G28, Z0, so the part will go there, and G0, G91, G28, X0, Y0, home positioning. And now, because the tool 1, we use it as diameter 100 pace mill in our pacing operation, right? If you remember, this one is tool 1, pace mill cutter 100. That one in our pacing operation. So now, we will use our tool 2 as our square mill. So tool 2 M6, square mill diameter 50. So now, when the machine read that block number 4, if the tool 1, which is the diameter 100 from pacing, is inside your machine, so if your magazine is at the back, so when the machine read this tool 2 M6, so the tool 1, which is diameter 100, will bring it back to the magazine at the back, and it will get the tool 2, your tool 2 cutters, which is the diameter 50 square mill. Okay? Then, of course, G0, G90, G54, which is our coordinate or WCS or our origin or our work offset. So, what is our X0, Y0? If this is our 50 mil, and this is 50 mil and 250 and 300. So, 250 divided by 2, 125, right? 125. So, 125 plus, what is half or radius of our cutter? This is diameter 50, plus 25, because 50 diameter, right? So half of it is 25, plus 25, 150. But you will not put exactly 150 on that, because you still need a small clearance. So aside from that corner and half of the tool, you still need a little bit of clearance before engaging the actual dimension. That's always the case. So just put clearance at least probably 20 mil. Okay, so plus 20. So y negative 70. Okay, so where is the 20 mil that I'm talking about? The 20 mil is this one. The 20 mil is this one. From that one to this one, that is 20 mil. That is the 20 mil. Because we will move our tool here. You always need a clearance. Why? Because we now, this kind of program, we will be using tool compensation. We will be using tool compensation. You will find out later why we use that clearance, okay? Because there will be an alarm if you just go exactly to that corner, okay? So just put 20 on the Y and 20 also on the X. If that is 20, so put also 20 from that edge, from this edge to this. So that's always also 20, okay? We will just go standard 20 gap, okay? This is also 20 for the X, okay? Just to show you that kind of clearance. That is just still clearance. You can put 10, 10, 5, but ideally just put enough clearance so you will not very close to the material. Okay, so just put 20. We'll erase that one again. So our tool is here. So Y negative 170, right? So now our Y, why did I do the Y first? I should do the X first. But anyway, Y negative 70. Let's just compute the 170.0. Okay, so that it's just realistic. Or anyway, just point. Always put point. Because some of the machine, if you don't have point, it is considered as microns. So always put point. And let's compute the X. Let's compute the X, which is 300. Half of that is 300 divided by 2. How much? 150, right? So 150, which is half of 300, divide 150 plus half of our radius of our tool, which is diameter 50, so radius is 25, right? Plus 25, 175. From that middle to this, to the edge of this X. But because we still have 20 mil clearance, so that is 175 plus 20 mil equals 195, okay? So that is just 195. So we will put X 195, positive 195, Y negative 170.0. Let's just put 0 so that it is just realistic. So basically, when the machine read that, why did I put there? that is home positioning. I'll just transfer here. I was already blind. 195.0 Y negative 170.0. Why did I put there in the home positioning? This is 0. Okay, so it should be there. It should be here, not there. Anyway, okay. So when the machine read this, if your tool is still far from the reference position, because you put Z0 and X0, Y0, it will just on the home position. Then it will call the machine, the tool 2 M6. So from the magazine, it will comes out and return the tool 1, which is the diameter 100. Then when the machine read the block number 5, which is G0, G90, G50 for X195, Y negative 170 with 20 clearance on both X and Y. So basically, approximately, your tool will somewhere here. Okay? From that positioning. There is 20 mil on that Y and there is also 20 mil on that X. Okay? So now, of course, we will be computing the next one is M3. We will spinning our spindle. M3 is spindle on clockwise and spindle speed. What is our spindle speed? So of course, we will be computing now. We already tackled that one from our previous tutorial or video. So now we will just quickly calculate that. So the formulas of computing RPM, which is spindle speed, is go back to our, the good thing is we just save some of the, we just save our tutorial here from our first topic. So we still save the formulas. So RPM equals 1000 times 150. 1000 is given and 150 is what is the BC. So let's use the same BC, which is 150. Divide 3.14, which is, this is also constant. I mean given the 3.14 times the diameter. Okay? That is the formula. 1000 times VC divided by 3.14 times diameter. That's why this example is from the diameter 100. But let's compute if we use the same BC 150 and the diameter is 50. So given this formula, let's calculate that. So 1000 and we will find what is the RPM of our diameter 50 cutters. So 1000 times the VC. Let's use the same VC, which is 150. So of course 150,000 divide pi, which is 3.14, equals then 47,750 divided by 50. Divided by 50. So our RPM or spindle speed is 955. Okay? So we will now use the 955 here in our spindle speed. So if you miss some of this part and you don't understand, just go back to our previous discussion. I discussed well, very detail by detail on that specific topic on how to get spindle speed. Calculate, I mean how to calculate. So 900, is that 955? Yeah, 955 with 150 BC. So 955 spindle speed. Okay? M3 is 955 for diameter 50 cutter. Then, of course, G43. Oops. Of course, the next block, which is the block number 7, is G43. Now, H2. Of course, H2, because we're using tool 2 now. Tool 2 H2. Why it is H2? I have also explained that on our previous video of how to assign that H2, assigning it in the tool offset number in our machine, in the offset number. So, tool 2, so H2, that details how much is your tool length. You will be inputting it to your tool offset in your machine. Okay, so we've discussed that also in our previous video. So please watch that one so you can understand. Just find the title on G43 tool length compensation tutorial, so you will find that explanation there. So tool 2 H2, put that value, whatever you got the length of your tool, whatever that value, input it in your tool offset number in H2, okay, in your machine. Then of course, initial Z, which is Z50. So from Z0 to the initial height when your tool move down in a rapid position, so there is 50 mil gap from the Z0 to that distance. So that is Z50. And M8, when it moves there, also the coolant will go on. Coolant on, because you will be beginning the cutting. Okay? So now, block number 8, I just put a space there so that at least we can label by label each block. Okay? That's why every part I just put a space. So 8 is another, that is now where our cutting will start. So G1, which is linear interpolation, Z0 feed 1000. So from 50, it will move Z0 feed 1000. Something like that. Then, imagine, okay, I will first let's do first the one whole rotation, okay? So that I just don't know where I will start because there's two part of this tutorial that it's just new to you. So I think we will be discussing first the first one, okay? I just want to cut first one whole rotation, okay? So that our tutorial for today's video will don't get mess like mixing. So we will not be mixing some part of the tutorial. So I'm just planning to go one around, okay? So that I can explain the proper movement on that around it, okay? So Z0 on that feed rate 1000, so the tool will go Z0. Okay? Then so when the tool go to Z0, of course, the tool is here. So the first thing to do it is to go on that Y, because we will be cutting like that, okay? We'll be cutting like that. So now, to make your program much easier to read, to make your program much easier, I will repeat it again, not to read, by the way, to make it more easy, to make it more easier to program, just program based on the drawing. I'm thinking, how will I explain it? But basically, when you do the program, you don't, if you notice, based in our previous program from pacing operation, if you remember, I calculate, example, this position, that negative 125 plus 50. And I consider that half of the tool. I consider that half of the tool in our positioning, in XY positioning, when we do the zigzag. Do you remember that in our first operation? But now, when you do contouring, you just disregard that half of the tool. Just disregard that, because there is the function which is called tool compensation, which I would like to share you in this video. Okay? Remember to disregard the half of this tool, the radius of this tool. We will be making the program based on the drawing. If that is 150, make 150. If this is 250, make 250. How we will do that? So that is called tool length compensation, okay? So tool length compensation means, what is tool length compensation? I just want to highlight, I think probably somewhere here. Copy, Control B. What is, not tool length compensation, tool compensation. What is tool length compensation is G43. So this is called tool compensation, not the length. Tool radius compensation. What is tool compensation? Tool compensation. Tool compensation is consist of two G codes. Consists of two G codes. The first one is G41. Oops. G41. And the second one is G42. What is G41 and G42? Which is tool length compensation. I always say tool radius compensation. It is tool compensation because tool length is G43, right? Let's search the right term. Is it really just tool compensation or tool radius compensation? Okay. What is tool compensation? Let's search what is tool compensation. I think that is tool radius compensation because that we are referring to radius. Okay, so why my site doesn't appear on this? Okay. So now, go back to our tutorial. What is tool radius compensation? Tool radius compensation consists of two G codes, G41 and G42. G41 means tool radius compensation left and of course G42 is tool radius compensation right. So in real world similarity or example, G41 tool radius compensation is left. This is you. Left, this is you. And tool radius compensation right is your wife because always right. No, just kidding. So meaning, tool radius compensation left, this is the tool direction when you cut the material, left and right. So how did we explain that in the explanation so that you can easily understand? Okay, let's get our sketch. So G41 is G41 is something like this. So G41 is work like this. if this is your part, that is your part, right? And we have our tool. We have our tool. And our tool is cutting in the direction of clockwise, right? Our tool is rotating clockwise. Always, right? All our tool is cutting clockwise. So it is rotating like this, clockwise. If you see in the in our sketch, okay? This is our tool. Of course, it's rotating clockwise, and this is our material. That is our material. And the direction is going there. When we cut. That is G41. So meaning, that is called G41, which is climb cut. Climb cut. Why it's like climb cut? Because you're like climbing. It's like it's just along the direction is like along the rotation is just along with the direction of your cutter. It's like something like this, like climbing. I cannot. It's like, imagine this rotation, right? It's rotating clockwise. It is rotating clockwise, and your direction is going there, right? So that's why we called it as climb cut. Wherein the G42, the difference of G42, which is tool radius compensation, right, is like this. G42, it works like this. If this is your square, okay, and this is your cutter, you are in the same you are on the same side, okay? You are on the same left side of the material, okay? But your direction, so again, this is your cutter, it's rotating clockwise. So your cutter is rotating clockwise, right? Your cutter doesn't change the rotation, it's always clockwise. Okay, that's your cutter. But your direction is not going there. Your direction is not going there. You're supposed to be going here, right? And you will go here, go here. That is G41 movement, right? See that G41? But in G42, you will be on the opposite direction here. You are on the same side of the x value. You're on the same x side of the part, which is on the left side of the part. And of course, you will not change your cutter, which is rotating clockwise, right? But G41 is climb cut, going there. And G42 is conventional cut or upcut. Conventional cutting. Oops. Cutting. Conventional cut. Oops. Conventional cutting, the G42. In real world situation, real machining situation, G41 is much more producing the good finish. Because imagine, if you see this illustration, the G41 is upcut. Remember, the upcut is like, if the upcut is like something, if the rotation of your cutter is like this, the upcut is, the direction is going along the way also. It's just on the same direction. Something like that. But the conventional cutting, the cutting is, you're going like, please bear with me because I just cannot, I just cannot explain it well to you, but I hope you understand it. So in real world, the G41, which is the climb cut, produce much more good finish than the conventional. Because conventional, imagine, it is moving down, and the swarp or your chips is also going on this side. Unlike the G41, the chips is throwing there. The chip is throwing there, but here, your swarp or your chip, metal chips is just like cutting again. How can I explain that? But if you see in our illustration, it is obviously on the opposite direction, right? So most of the time, we're using G41 in our machining. Most of the time, especially on our contouring, you will be moving, going to the right, and you're on the left side, which is, we will use G41, which is the climb cut. Can we use G41 and G42 on this both illustration? Yes, of course. If you're G41, if you want to use G41 in your contouring operation, you will be moving, going to the right. So you will be moving like this, right? Going to like that, clockwise. But if you want to use G42 program, you will be moving, going to counterclockwise. I will move this cutter here so that you will understand more our illustration. So this is our cutter, right? It's rotating clockwise. So G41 will be moving like that. It will cut the side of the part which is the 300 by 250, going like that. But the G42, even you're starting here, the G42 will be moving counterclockwise. Something like that. Okay? So you will be, it is up to you which one you will use, but most of the time we're using G41, which is the tool radius compensation left, and just very not, we're also using G42, but not always. When you program your part, the default is always G41. But there's nothing wrong in using conventional as long as you understand how it works. And you also know that when you use G42, it's not producing good side, okay? It's not producing a good surface finish than the G41. So now, I'm not really satisfied in my explanation with G41 and G42, but I hope you visualize the difference of G41 and G42. Because when someone is taught me about this explanation of G41 and G42, they just said that G41 is tool radius compensation left, and G42 is tool radius compensation right. And they just taught me that G41 is on the left, and G41 is on the right. And it's wrong explanation. If you're new, if you're just new, that's why I did not explain the same way like that, because I don't want you to get confused. Because when I was starting and someone taught me about that one, I just thought that when you position your tool to the left, it's G41. When you position your tool to the right, it's G42. But it's not it doesn't work like that. It should be, although the explanation is, the definition is compensation left and compensation right, but it doesn't mean that your tool is on the right, that's G42, no. Or your tool is on the left, that is G41, no. As long as, I hope I explained it well on my illustration so that you will know the difference. It both rotate in clockwise direction with the cutter. Of course, your cutter always rotate clockwise. Then going there is G41 movement, which your swarp is throwing on this side. Your swarp is throwing here. After you cut, it's just go here. That's why we called it climb cut. And G42 is moving opposite side. I think that's the right term. It's moving opposite side of the cutting. So it's moving here. Like that. Okay? That is G42. It's moving against. I think that's the term. It's moving against the direction. Against the direction. You know, it's really hard to explain this G41 and G42, but once you encounter it or use it in the real machining program, you will understand. You will understand. I just don't want you to get confused that, okay, G41 is on the left side and G42 is on the right side. It's not the right explanation, although it's named like left and right. That left and right is talking about the compensation of your radius. Like, the reason why I told you here that disregard the radius of your cutter, disregard the radius of the cutter, because we will be using compensation, meaning we will be putting exact dimension of our drawing. Based on our drawing, we will be putting like that. Why my oh, my illustration is just okay, but why it doesn't appear here, the program. I think it's short on our right side. It is short. Why it is short? I will just fix this, guys. Just wait a moment. I'll just want to fix our okay. Why did I okay, but anyway, we're still not discussing the full movement, so I think it's alright, although we just covered this part a while ago. But anyway, that's alright. So meaning, when we do the program, we just put exactly what's the value on our based on the drawing, because we will be using that tool radius compensation and we will set that one in our machine. Let's just do one example so that you can understand how it works. So when we do G1 Z0, so it just go to Z0, and of course block number 9, it will go this one will go Y. This should be Y. 9. G1y. So, G1y, what is the value of this? Y, 250 divided by 2, of course, 125. So, y negative 125 because we will be moving this one here. But if you notice, y negative 125, because our value is always on the middle of the cutter, so the cutter should be supposed to be here, right? But it will not go, it will not go there because we will be using G41, which is tool radius compensation. So this one should be G1, G41, Y negative 125, D1. And feed, what is our feed? Let's calculate. We will explain that one later on. Feed, let's calculate the feed first. Okay? Let's calculate the feed. What is the formula in calculating the feed rate? Feed rate equals RPM, which is the 955, times feed per tooth, which is we will use still the same 0.2 based on the manufacturer. By the way, this explanation is also in our previous program, previous tutorial, I mean. And of course, the number of flute. Let's say number of flute is, let's say 4 flute only, 4 flute in mill, okay? And 4 flute square mill cutter, okay? So go back to our calculator, which is the RPM is 955 times feed per tooth. Let's use the same 0.2. Let's say that is the manufacturer recommendation, 0.2. That is FZ, okay? In your tool insert, when you buy insert, you will see the label FZ equals 0.2 to 0.3 to 0.5. So let's use 0.2. 0.2 equals 191 times the number of flute. Let's say per flute, diameter 50 square mil times 4. So our feed rate is 765 on our diameter 50. Okay? So, what is that again? 764. Oh, the same, almost the same with the 100. But because 100 is 8 flute, but because in our 50 pace mill, it's just 4 flute. So that's why it's almost just divided by 2, almost the same with the 100. So feed rate 764, okay? In our 4 flute diameter 50 pace mill, square mill, the feed rate is 764 and RPM is 955. Okay? So this G41, G41, Y negative 125, when the machine read that, supposed to be, if there is no G41, Y negative 125, our tool is supposed to be here on the middle of that Y negative 125, right? Because this is our middle of our tool. But because you use G41, it will compensate the radius of your cutter, which is diameter 50, so 25, right? So instead of the tool going there, it will compensate the 25 radius. That's why it just go right on the edge of that cutter. Now the question, where do you set that 25 radius of this cutter? Because this is diameter 50. Where are we going to set that 25 mm? Where are we going to set that radius, the 25 mm radius of the cutter? We will set that one, as you notice in here, G41, G1, G41, Y negative 125, which is based on the drawing. We will set that radius in D1. Where is that D1? That D1 is still in the tool offset where we input our, remember in our previous tutorial, in our G43 tool length compensation, and we go to tool offset, we will find here. We go to tool offset, right? We will go to tool offset here. The same when you see your monitor, just find the tool offset button and you will see this field. This field. Previously, we put the 200, which is the paste mill cutter 100 in H1, right? And 50, the radius. Now, in H2, example, our tool length of our diameter 50 cutter is, let's say 150. Let's say 150. So let's say 150. The H2, we are in H2, right? This is the diameter 50. So put that 150 tool length here, which is the length side. Geometry. And where? Of course, this is just 0 because you will not make an adjustment to the height. You're not doing the pacing, so the height adjustment doesn't matter. So if your tool length of your 50 diameter cutter is 150, put here in the H2 side, which is length. Now, the radius that we define in tool radius compensation, actually I made a mistake. This is not D1. This is D2. This is D2. Sorry. This is D2. Go back here. But you can assign any D1, D2, D3. But ideally, same as in H1 and G43, which is H2, tool to H2, of course, you will not get confused yourself. If you use H2, so use D2 also, so that you will input that D2 the same in line with the tool offset in your machine. Okay, so go back again here in our illustration. When we input the value of the tools, put 150 here, which is the tool length offset, which is the G43 explanation of the tool length offset, which is here. The same with the 200 in our paste mill cutter, and 0 in wear. And the radius, which we define in D2, that we use G41, that's why you have to input here on this side. You have to input here. Radius of our tool, diameter 50, so radius is 25. But why there is no? Yeah. Radius is 25. Of course, where is 0 because we don't have adjustment. So now, this is very important now that you have to put 25 there. Because whatever is the value there, radius, so meaning radius here, in your tool offset, in your machine, whatever is the value there, that is the value that will compensate. That is the value that will compensate on this program. When the machine read this, G1, G41, Y negative 125, D2, so meaning it will compensate whatever you put, what you put in D2, that value. If you put, so that 25 is, ideally the machine knows that the D2 value is 25 mm from that one to the center of your radius, that is 25. You have to put there. If you mistakenly put different value, example, instead of putting 25, you put 35, that's good. That is not good, ideally, but that is still good because that is far from here. You have 10 mm mistake, so it is far. It will not go a long way there. But if you put less than 25, example, you put in your D2, you put 15, it will go 15. It will go 10 mil inside. Imagine. So that radius is always should be correct based on the radius of your cutter. Okay? I just exaggerate it. So at least you know what it really means, that kind of value, which is very important. And of course, go back to the tutorial, to the machine, which is this side in the geometry, in the tool offset. where is also used to adjust. Example, that 300 into 50, when you go one pass and you measure it, oh, there's still 0.1. The actual measurement is 300.1 and 250. Ay, example, 300.2 and 250.2. So you will just adjust it incrementally. The same with the tool length. You can adjust here incrementally. You can put also like, if you adjust it, example, the actual size is 300.2 and 250.2. That is the adjustment. So you will remove 0.2, right? But in where you only adjust negative 0.1. That is times 2. Don't adjust minus 0.2. Because if you adjust minus 0.2, that is times 2. So 0.4. You will undercut your part. So whatever is the actual dimension, and if you're measuring the distance, both sides, the thickness, example 300.2, so when you adjust your wear, just half of that, 0.2 divided by 2 is equals 0.1. So only adjust 0.1. Then when you rerun your pass, when you measure it again, the actual should be times 2 in the actual cutting. So the 0.2 will be cut because of this adjustment, negative 0.1. Okay? So, the value is negative. Why negative? Because you assume. Why it's not positive, by the way? Let's just quick like discuss this. Why it's negative, not positive? Negative because you assume that your tool is less than 25 mm. Remember when I discussed to you when I told you that if you mistakenly, example, put 35 instead of 25, if you put 35, your tool will go far. If you put 15 instead of 25, your tool will go near because the machine think that you are smaller when you put the value less, so it will go more. So the same way in wear, if you want to cut more, put negative because it assumes that the tool is smaller than 0.1. So put negative when you want to cut more, and put positive when you want to make your part bigger. That's why ideally when you do the first cut, always put positive in your wear, like positive 0.2, 0.25, so that you will still have the opportunity to measure first and adjust that one incrementally until you got the final. So if you do the first cut, always put positive in your wear, and until you get the exact dimension, so you have to adjust incrementally, going smaller and smaller to that wear adjustment. Okay? Hope you get that idea. But yeah, that movement, the G41, Y negative 125 D2 will move the tools exactly to that edge, even you put just Y negative 125 because of your tool radius compensation, which is the D2 and G41. Okay? It will go here on that edge. Okay? So now, of course, the X movement will just copy that one, Control B. This is number 10. Number 10. Just because G41 and D2 are modal commands, so you don't need to put G41 on the next one, okay? And also the G1, don't put G1 because that's all modal command that we have discussed last time. So just put the value of X and don't put D2 also. And also the feed rate, just remove that one because that feed rate is still the same. We will still using 764. So linear so x is negative. What is our x? 300 divided by 2. So x negative 150. Okay? X negative 150. Okay? So the next one, so x negative 150, it will cut here. So the tool is here. Why it negative 150? So of course, still our D2 is still activated. So the actual, when you see your machine, it's not negative 150 in the actual positioning. It should be negative 175. But when you do the program, you have to put exactly based on the drawing. So the machine will know automatically. It will calculate the half of the radius because of that D2, the G41 calculation. Okay. So now that our tool is there, we will be moving again in Y. There, going Y there. So, going there again, just put (11). That is Y. Y positive 125. Okay? Let's put 0 so that it is very realistic. And that is X linear interpolation and Y linear interpolation. Okay? So it goes there, Y positive 125. So the tool is there. So you will go here again. Think. So, of course, that is X 150 because half of 300 is 150. And the Y 125 because half of 250 is 125, right? It's on that corner. So now we will just copy this X. Copy. This will become our number 12. Okay, but this one will become positive 150 now. So that one become positive 150. So the tool will go there, positive 150. Now, the tool will go here again in negative. The tool will go here again in negative 125. Ay, 125. Yeah, negative 125. Okay? So, copy. B. (13). (25). But I will not put negative 125 there. You know why? Because I will explain to you later. Instead of negative 125, I will put now the first positioning that we have. I will put the first positioning that we have in Y negative 170. We have 20 mil distance, right? That negative 170. I will put it there, okay? I will explain to you why. Let me put it first, okay? And why it's not 125, why you put 170. And I will also put the X, Control copy, Control B. I will explain it well, just wait a moment. Why I don't put 125 and instead I put, what is X here? 125, 195, X 195. And number 15, we'll copy. It will be 15. This is number 15. I will explain to you the last three part of this movement, okay? The last three part, why I put like this. Probably just 200. Positive 200. G40. Now, you see this last three blocks? I think I'm going to separate it just to highlight, and you know that it is important, this last three blocks. Now, go back to this movement after we move x positive 150, which our tool is already here. Instead of going here, which is negative 125, I use negative 170 now. Because that is our first positioning, right? Here in G54, 170, and we have 20 mm clearance from that. So basically, that one will read here. Okay? And also that number 14 blocks, which is X125, that is also the first positioning that we have in the first positioning. So basically, it will move somewhere here. There is also 20 mm clearance. Understand this one, guys. This last three part. This is very important. I also do X195 here, that positioning, okay? Then X200, I just moved X200, G40 X200. So probably if this is X125, it will just move 5 mm more, only just a little bit. Why did I put that? Why did I do that? The question is, why did I do that? Because I explained that in G41, it will compensate the radius. So basically, if we will follow this 170, that 170, or if I just want to go that one, I just supposed to put 125, right? Like that. Or if that is 170, 125 is somewhere here already, right? That is the edge. So 170 should be very far here, probably. Because 125 plus 170, it's very far, probably. Then X is very far also. Because my G41 is still active, right? The tool compensation, which is half of the tool. But ideally, the G41 works like this. The last three blocks of your exit, the exit of your tool. The G41 works like this. So we're here, right? Understand this one very well, because this is the very important part when you do the program in G41. The G41 works like this. Even the G42. When you cancel the tool radius compensation, the activation of G41, the tool radius compensation is G41 and G42, right? That is the activation. That's why it requires D2. You see this block number 9, right? But when you cancel it, the cancellation is G40. See? See this in the bottom, G40. But G40 or the cancellation works not exactly on the same block. I will repeat it again. The G40 or the cancellation of G41 or G42, which is the tool radius compensation, when you specified it in the specific block, which is the 15, the program doesn't cancel exactly right to number 15 block. The program doesn't exactly cancel on that specific block alone. The G40 or the cancellation of G41, it canceled the first or the last two blocks ahead. I will repeat. The G40, which is the the cancellation of the tool radius, it canceled the last 2 blocks before it. That's why I separate this one so that you can clearly see that first 3 blocks. So meaning, in my explanation, that it canceled the last 2 blocks before this cancellation, before it reached G40, the last 2 blocks ahead of it is already canceled. So meaning, even though the G40 was executed on this block number 15, the one I showed you, the number 14 and the number 13 was already canceled. So meaning, the toll compensation or toll radius compensation in this block number 13 and 14 is not anymore working. It's not working anymore. That's why, as you notice, I put the actual value burst in our first positioning because ideally, I will move this one here, right? So I can just put y negative 125, so the tool is here. But because in the definition, the G40 works, the last 2 blocks before it, so you have to put the exact value based on your positioning. Or whatever, you can put negative 180. Just remember that when you do the program, the last 2 blocks before cancelling the G41 was already cancelled also. That's why x negative 195, that is the actual positioning now. The number 13 and the number 14, that is the actual positioning with 20 mm clearance. That's why I just put the same to our positioning in our first, when we called our coordinate in first positioning, x195, y negative 170, that is the one. And I just put the G40 after that. I just move at least 5 mil more. So from 195, I move 200 just to put the G40 after the 2 blocks. I can put the G40 here beside G40 X195. But remember, G40 canceled on the last 2 blocks. So meaning, if I put the G40 here on the X195 instead of after that one, example, I put G40 here. Example, I put there. So meaning, the number 12 was also canceled. What happened? What happened if the number 12 was canceled? Basically, your X150 will cancel the tool compensation. So meaning, your part will get rejected because it will go tapered. Imagine that X150 was also cancelled. So, meaning, the tool was probably, not the tool, the part was be tapered here. It will goes there. It will goes there. Because it will cancel the last 2 blocks. And I encountered that kind of problem when I was starting also doing that program. If you don't check your simulation very well, for sure, you think that you will produce an square or rectangle, but if you miss that last 2 blocks of your program, you canceled early in your program, you will produce a tapered part and your part will get rejected. Okay? Hopefully, you understand this explanation of canceling the G41 or G42 movement. Because if you cancel too early, the last 2 blocks of your program, of your block, will be canceled before G40. So the proper way is put the last 2 positioning, which is your X195, Y negative 170, and your last 2 blocks, and put G40 on the bottom. If you want to put much more on the bottom, much better, because probably if you confuse, will I put here last 2 block or just make 3, so at least you're very sure that you already exceed the 2 block. I might get wrong. I might probably somewhere here just just probably this G40 is supposed to be work here on number 14, and that 13 is still the G41 is still activated, but as far as I remember, it canceled the last two blocks ahead of it. So it's better to make it 3 than 2, and you will cancel the 12 and you will get a tapered side of it. It will get probably like that, because it will see that 150 is there, then it will go 150 here, something like that. Hopefully I explain it well. So that's how the G41 or G42 toll radius. The G42 is basically just moving opposite side. If this one is moving here as we program, right? It moves like that. So G42 is obviously just move going there. It's the same principle, and the same principle of cancellation at the end of the program. It just works same as like that. So that's where our first part of our explanation in contouring of using G41 of our program. But in our next video, we will be discussing, because our part has 100 mm thickness. So imagine if you will just keep on, we already make a one pass, one rotation, right? With Z0, where's that one? Z0 value. But if that is 100 and you will just go 1 mm depth of cut, imagine you will do like this 100 mm, 100 times this one. So how long is your program? Maybe the day is already finished and you're still doing your program, right? So there is a technique on that. So next video we will be discussing the use of what is the technique on using repetition on that specific thickness using the existing program that we already have on this G41 explanation. So right now we tackle about G41 explanation of G41 and G42, which is toll radius compensation left and toll radius compensation right, which is G41 is climb cut and G42 is conventional cut. And based on our illustration, hopefully you understand that one. Okay, so again, please comment down below if you have any suggestion and I really appreciated that one, guys. So we can improve the way we share this tutorial. And please follow my Jumil Ignacio account. Yeah, I always believe that in machining, safety is our top priority. Safety of ourselves and especially our machine also. Okay, take care everyone and bye.